This is the most fun build I've played so far. Just look at it. Welcome everyone to my channel. Today we're looking at one of the best performing builds on ladder, and it's actually a combination from two of our favorite builds. So it's going to be a combination from Whirlwind, Fireball. So let's actually look at the skills here. The trigger skill we're using is Whirlwind. Of course, that's linked with spell activation when channeling to trigger the Fireball. And the Fireball here is going to be the main source of damage. We have some increased kill experience. That means every mob that we hit with our Whirlwind gives us some kill XP. Later on you can switch that out with gold or some other support that gives more loot. And we have quick attack. That's actually really important to have that, since it basically increases our trigger speed by 30%. Okay, while channeling, of course, because Whirlwind is a channel skill, so it's constantly being triggered even if we don't hit any mobs. So we can zoom around the mobs and still trigger the fireballs. Then for the fireball skill, we're using multi-shot, get some more projectiles, concentrated area damage for the gigantic damage boost, find weakness, since this is gonna be crit based, strike, rune, since cast speed doesn't matter to us, we're triggering the fireball, so we can have the slowest cast speed on the planet and still do a lot of damage, and this is just a gigantic damage boost, just 33% damage boost without any downside here, and the fire penetration. Just to be able to kill all of the mobs even with fire resist, really good. Okay, on top of that there's some meteor. That's just for additional boss damage with cooldown. Also linked to strike and find weakness, so we don't have to upgrade two of each of them. And we're kind of running out of slots here. Another fire penetration. Mana storm. You can only get that by synthesizing rare runes, so that's really expensive to get. Before you have that, you can use amplify, fire damage, or really any spell damage support here. And another concentrated area damage. Okay. Then he's using Vital Strike here for the increased critical rate, the critical damage, improved senses for the additional defenses. Both of that is linked to increased duration. On top of that, we're using the Illusion Strike, a movement skill. And that's linked to Disarm for cooldown recovery. Use count. We're linking that with Teleport. We're running the Seal of Condensed Elements as the offensive seal, linked to dampen resource cost, so actually still fine with mana usage here, because these seals increase the mana cost. Then another Seal of Defense, basically gigantic armor boost. If we fight something that has a lot of chaos resist, we can also switch to the Seal of Chaos. These seals here, they are not required to start with the build. All you need is the Whirlwind and the Fireball. Meteor you can add later once you have maxed your Fireball. So the mandatory skills are the Teleport, Illusion Strike, Whirlwind, and the Fireball. And then you can replace that by other runes until you synthesize the correct runes for the final build. If you go to your item compendium, you can actually see the Seal of Defense can be synthesized by putting blue runes into the alchemy table. The Seal of Chaos Resist can be synthesized by putting rare runes into the alchemy table. The Seal of Elemental Resist can be also good if you don't have any of the other defensive skills yet. That is synthesized by a magic rune. Same for the Condensed Elements, which are damage boosting seal. That's also done by synthesizing magic rune. And we can also find a Seal of Striking here. That is really strong for Fireball as well, since that's increased strike damage. But he probably didn't find it yet, or maybe he thinks that the Condensed Elements is stronger for his build. Okay, let's look at the gear here. Pierce count is the most important stat here, so we don't have to run the Pierce rune on Fireball. It allows all of our Fireballs to go through one enemy and hit a second one behind him. And on top of that, attack and spell damage, fire penetration, and really important, the crit rating here, that's a gigantic stat. Second dagger is high speed, with damage against enemies affected by status effect. Fireball burns enemies, and burn counts as a status effect. It's a 80% damage boost against all of the stronger enemies. Since the weaker enemies will be one-shot most of the time anyway, they don't burn, they just die. Then another tier 10 crit rating, and some fire damage. The dot amplification is nice to have, but it's not that crazy. We're running a lot of armor here, with a lot of resists on the helmet, some health on the chest, so we can use this enchanted base here to roll the armor amplification stat. We need to be near to one of the totems though. I think he's actually not running any of the totems. We haven't seen any totem in his setup, so this skill here can be only used if he uses a totem. So let's look at the other stats. That's 3 times resist and high armor. Guess he just went with that, 3 resist and high armor. Then another base with a gigantic amount of armor. And this skill here is insane. Plus 3 spell damage skill rune. That actually upgrades this skill here to 34. Instead of 31, that's a big damage boost. On top of that, 2 big resists and a lot of armor. Next up are the fire pen gloves, elemental damage, critical rate on area damage, and fireball is an area of effect skill. Works. Some resist, more armor, cold damage decrease. These are top tier, really good gloves. For the boots, the mana cost dampening, that's really good. Since mana is hard to manage in late builds, especially if your build triggers something like this. And has a lot of attack speed. With 40% movement speed, health, some hit rating, and triple resist. The health and triple resist is important, but the movement speed is the most important, so you can dodge easier. Cyclone, or no, Whirlwind slows you down a little bit, so you want to have as much movement speed as possible to still be fast. Next up is the necklace. It's using crit damage base with fire damage and a chance to gain the uplift effect, which increases attack speed. So every time you hit an enemy, you have a 10% chance to get additional attack speed here. You also have the debuff dodge chance, health on kill rune cooldown for the meteor and the movement skills, some resists. For the belt, using the better potion healing effect with health, additional mana regen, and another health potion effect here. A mana potion effect, also managing mana easier. Some hit rating. For the rings, they are both spell crit rings with attack speed, projectile damage, some health, assists. For the other ring, bonus fire damage, projectile damage, health, attack speed, crit damage, some resist. Look at the charms here. He's using Castor, 40% with bonus elemental resist and damage, some poison resist, some fire resist. Look at that. This one is just to get the bonus, I believe. This is for additional armor and damage while dual wielding. Holy moly, this charm is so good. 20% health almost, and crit damage. You're always close, so that applies to almost every enemy that you're facing. Another high health charm. I'm not sure if this damage applies to us since it says one-handed weapon. I'm not sure if dual wielding also counts with one-handed weapon. But still, that's a really good charm, 20% health. Spell hit rating here. Another crit chance if they're close, which they are. Another armor charm that is here mostly to boost the Alyssa's blessing, so we can hit the 50%. Let's look at the Zodiac. He's splitting points into all three stats. And just copy that similar amount. And he's going into spell damage here. Cast speed don't matter to us. And another elemental damage. We're boosting Fireball, not the Whirlwind. Here actually we're picking the potion effects. Really good for tankiness. That gives us a lot of more health and for sustaining mana. For number 4, damage, strike damage, crit, area of effect, very crit rate. For number 4, some more resists and damage. For 5, some more damage and resists and some health. For number 6, fire penetration, spell critical damage. For number 7, he's splitting that. Dust for the health potion effect. Send for some more crit and damage. Some attack speed. And finally, number 8, dual wielding stats here with crit, damage. Down here, some more dual wielding elemental damage. Blacksmith, he's taking tankiness, physical damage taking. He's not using dodge, so he's dodge disabled to get 15% more health. And he's using the and he's taking the critical damage taking increase. That though amplifies every damage that he's getting is 15% stronger, but he cannot be crit. Crits are the most dangerous because you can mostly outreach hits. You're tanky enough. And for the last one here, he's going some damage and going the movement speed route, attack prey. Every time he gets hit, he has a chance of faster, and he cannot be slowed down. And for the specialization here, he's going into acceleration for the movement speed mostly and the attack speed. Then next, overpower for the elemental penetration, elemental damage. Strike damage amplification, since fireball is a strike, just boost our DPS by a lot. Next into area damage amplification. Fireball is also an area damage, so hardness, out of crit, and into more crit even. Last, it's going the +2 projectile route here. More damage, more crit, and crit per intelligence. Actually, you want to hit at least 150 int here. Better 200, so you get more out of this.
If you enjoyed this video, you can find even more content on my channel.